Story is The Dancer and the Stone Sky. In the first days, the sky was not blue but a ceiling of ancient rock. Creatures moved in the half-light, backs bent, spirits low. No wind stirred, no bird could ever hope to fly. But in the east, a Brolga crane felt a different rhythm, a pulse, a whisper from the deep earth below her feet. She began to move, not a walk, a deliberate heavy step. Then another, and another. A slow grinding dance began. Her focus was not on the earth but on the stone above. Days turned to seasons. Her feathers grayed with dust and age. The other creatures watched, first puzzled, then in silent awe. Her powerful feet wore a deep, circular trench into the land, and with each step she pushed, ever so slightly, at the sky. A faint scraping sound, unheard for millennia, began to whisper. Then, a crack, a hairline fracture in the gray eternity. The Brolga did not stop. Her dance became a furious celebration. The fracture spread, branching like a lightning bolt of pure blue. A shard of stone sky fell. Then another, a rain of granite. And through the hole, the first true sunrise flooded the world. The Brolga, exhausted, finally stilled. Her work was complete. The stone sky groaned and shattered outward to the horizons. Creatures stood tall, feeling the sun on their backs for the first time. The freed birds took wing, painting the air with their joy. Where the Brolga danced, a waterhole sprang from the earth. She drank, her reflection mingling with the endless blue above. They say she became the first cloud forever dancing in the sky. Her waterhole remains, a circle of life in the red desert. And when you see a Brolga dance, with its wings held high, it remembers the rhythm that broke the stone sky. Second story, the stone heart of Motunui. On the distant, mist-shrouded island of Motunui lived a carver of unmatched skill named Tama. He dreamed of carving an ancestor statue of legendary power. But the elders forbade him from the stone of the western cliff. They said that stone was the island's dreaming soul. Tama, consumed by ambition, went there under a moonless sky. The stone in that quarry was unlike any other. It felt warm, almost alive, to his touch. For seasons, he worked alone, his tools singing on the sacred rock. The great moai took shape, its features fierce and profound. As he prepared to carve the final, the eyes, he took a breath and struck the defining blow. A deep groaning sound echoed from the earth itself. And then, from the stone face, the eyes opened. But this awakening came with a terrible price. The island's heart, its volcano, fell deathly silent. A deep, unmoving sleep fell upon the birds and the fish. Tama turned, horror dawning on his face. He reached for the statue to undo what he had done. But the stone of the dreaming soul claimed its creator. He was pulled into the rock, trapped within his own creation. Now, he dreams within the stone, for all eternity. His dreams are all that keep the island from turning to stone. The people remember the carver who stole the island's dream, and they listen, always, for the volcano's breath to return. Third story, the river that slept. In the golden age of Mesopotamia, between two great rivers, life thrived. But then, one river changed. The mighty Tigris River, the lifeblood of a city, grew still. Its lively current simply stopped. The waters didn't just stop. They thickened, becoming clear and viscous, like a pane of green glass. Panic seized the city. Canals dried. Crops wilted. The people cried out to their gods, but heard no answer. A humble potter named Enlil Bani did not shout at the heavens. He sat by the silent river and listened. He placed his ear to the hardened surface, and deep within, he heard not silence, but a slow, deep breath. The river god was not angry. It was asleep. A deep, lonely slumber, forgotten by those it served. The people had taken its water, its fish, its mud for bricks, but they had given no songs, no thanks, no love. And little Bonnie knew words were not enough. He went to his workshop and brought his wheel and clay to the bank. For 7 days and 7 nights he worked. He shaped the clay with a prayer in his fingers. He did not ask for the river to flow. He sang to it. Old songs of thanks, of rain, of journeying to the sea. The city watched, first in skepticism, then in wonder. He was not demanding, he was remembering. On the 7th dawn his work was complete. A magnificent jug, tall and graceful, waited on the bank. On Lil Bonnie took the jug. He did not fill it from the river. He filled it with wine, oil, and honey from his home. He lifted the heavy jug. He approached the water's edge. The entire city held its breath. With a slow, deliberate tilt, he poured the first offering back into the Tigris. Where the offering touched, the water softened. The hard surface rippled like muscle waking from sleep. A deep groan echoed from the riverbed. The sleeping god stirred, stretching limbs of current and silt. Then, with a sound like a mountain sighing, the Tigris River remembered how to flow. The people cheered, rushing to the life-giving water, but Enlil Bani simply sat and listened again. He heard the difference. The river's song was no longer just the sound of water. It was a conversation. From that day, the first vessel filled from the Tigris each season was never for drinking. It was for pouring back. They learned the river was not a tool. It was a neighbor, a god with a heart that needed hearing. And if you listen very closely by its banks, you can still hear two songs: the water's flow and the echo of thanks.